Okay, guys, welcome back to this week's edition of Ladies Night. We've got a new panel of ladies here with your host, Moff and Spence. Ladies, thank you for coming. Appreciate you jumping on. We're going to start with a quick round of introductions. We should have maybe a lady or somebody, another guest or two that will be joining maybe a little bit later. Some people are stuck in traffic, and we're getting women from all over, so different time zones. So it's 7 o'clock Eastern. It's 4 o'clock on the West Coast. I just saw somebody or heard somebody pop in, so we'll go ahead and we'll throw Kathy up on screen stage. So, ladies, we've did all this stuff backstage, but let's just do a quick round of intros for the audience. Just say your name, your age, ballpark if you like, where you're from, what you do for a living, and then your relationship status. So let's just make it easy and start with Denise.
Hey, I'm Denise. I am in my mid-40s. I live in Virginia. I own a marketing firm, and I'm divorced, currently single.
Okay. Catherine, you next.
Catherine Muldoon. I am in my late 30s, and I live in New York City, and I am a dentist and founder of cosmetics brand.
And you are
and
currently
I'm
single, yes?
Okay. Single.
Gotcha. How about Erica? Why don't you go to next?
Oh, muted.
We get Erica off mute.
Erica, you're muted.
Yeah, she needs to unmute herself. You're muted. You need to unmute yourself.
I don't know if I can do it for you. Hold on.
I got it. Sorry.
No,
there we go.
There we go.
Didn't mean to do that. Okay, let's start over. So I'm Erica Lynn. I'm in my 30s. I'm in a relationship, and I'm from Las Vegas.
And you, what do you for work?
I am an adult entertainer.
Okay, gotcha. All right, and then we'll do, for the sake of this show, we'll say Catherine and then Kathy. So Kathy, welcome back to the show. Thank you for coming back.
Just for thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. For people that didn't see the episode you were on, just same thing. Do your quick intro here.
Okay, well, my name is Kathy. I am currently working to be a Pilates instructor, getting my certification for that. I do mixed martial arts. Right now, I'm concentrating on being an athlete for Taekwondo. And that's pretty much it. I'm just an athlete in training.
Okay. Awesome. Well, ladies, thanks again. We ask, so you guys have some context. We don't do this while we're live, but before the show, we go around and we ask the ladies for maybe a controversial opinion or a stance on dating they might have. And Catherine, you had some interesting ones. So there's this book. I don't know the name of the author. I know that it was written by a woman. But you seem to be living and having your dating life abiding by this book. It's just called The Rules. Is that what it is? It's just called The Rules to Dating?
The Rules. That's it.
Okay. So there was one in particular, or do you have, what are maybe some of your favorite rules? Maybe we can go, if you're super well versed, maybe like what's your top 1 or 2 or 3, and maybe we can just go around the panel and see if we agree, disagree, and maybe Spencer and I can, dissect it a little bit. I mean, one of them you said was, that I thought was really interesting, and I've never heard this before, was don't accept a Saturday date after Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a rationale behind that? Is there an explanation? Do you subscribe to that? Like, tell me more about that one in particular.
I feel like the premise behind it is you want someone, like if a man can't plan a date, then he can't plan a future. So you want someone who's going to plan things in advance, prioritize you, not just call you on a Friday night because they don't have anything else to do and you just happen to be their last option. Like I said to you guys earlier, like you want to be the desired one. You want to be the Hermes bag. You don't want to be the bag on sale at Target. Not that like women are for sale, but like you don't want to make yourself so available. And so one of the rules is don't accept a Saturday date after Wednesday, and I guess a Friday date after Tuesday, because you have better things to do, like wash your hair, if they can't prioritize you.
Help me understand this. If I were to text a woman on Thursday, say at like 2 p.m., and say, hey, let's get together this Saturday, that's a no-go?
I mean, according to the rules, and like, do I always follow this rule? No, I like literally broke it last Friday, which is why I
The
So if
rules
it's
that
for
aren't
the right
really
guy-
rules. They're
So is it fair enough to say that the rules don't apply if it's for the right guy?
I think that you just like have to know what you're getting yourself into. Like, obviously, if someone's hitting you up on a Friday, and not scheduling a date in advance, or like not taking you seriously, and like you shouldn't take them seriously either. So it takes like a, a grain of like self-control.
In advance, like how much advance are we talking? Because again, even if I'm texting a chick or if I'm calling a girl on Friday and I want to set up a date for Saturday,
or Friday after Tuesday, and like that's deductive reasoning, right?
no, but that wasn't my question, right? It's like I'm trying to figure out what we mean by in advance, because even a day before is technically in advance. Like not giving somebody advance notice to me is saying, hey, it's 4:30. Do you want to meet at 5? I have nothing better to do. Like if it's Friday, even if it's Thursday, I'm saying, hey, I'm free this weekend, free this Saturday. Like that seems like that's in advance by definition, is it not?
Is it after Wednesday for Saturday?
Spencer, am I not
Wednesday.
phrasing?
Wednesday.
Am I not
So,
phrasing the
that's
question properly?
I just don't
I know,
think
but
I don't understand.
but the argument
Don't
you're
accept
making,
it as
the
I
question
can tell
here
you
really,
what you're
it's more like, does it have to be like 3 whole days in advance? Like, isn't 2 or even 1 day in advance still
technically
enough?
that is technically in
rule.
advance?
That's the rule. I'm just saying what the rule is.
But you agreed about the rule. You said you like to you said you live your life by the rule before we got on the show.
No, I literally just said I broke the rule last week.
She also
all right, well, let's talk about that.
Last Friday,
let's talk about that. So like what about this guy or this person that you were dating got you to break the rule?
Because I didn't think of it like a date. Like, I'm not doing anything else. All right, you're not doing anything, fine. But like, am I gonna take this seriously? No.
So you went out with a guy, but you're not taking it seriously.
Yeah, I didn't have
just
anything
went out.
serious. I just went out. Why not?
Okay. I mean, is that common? Like, ladies, is that something we're doing? Like, we just go out with guys just because we got nothing better to do? Like, but because Catherine, you just said before that you were like, oh, like I got something better to do, like stay home and wash my hair. So it's like I'm confused on where you fall on this. Like, I'm not necessarily particularly, because I can't interview the author of the book. I'm interested in your opinions and what you think about it. I'm trying to drill down if there's any deductive reasoning.
I mean,
or
you
if it's
have to
just...
ask me in 5 minutes again. I don't know. It depends who's asking.
The answer going to change in 5 minutes?
It could, yeah.
All right. Let's move on. Because this is off to a great start.
It all depends on who it is and what he says that he wants to do.
I mean, that's fair. Look, let's actually honest. So, I mean, I don't know what we're talking about anymore. I don't know if we're talking about if it's I'm asking you the question or if a guy's asking you out, and the answer that you give depends on the guy. Because I actually would buy that. I think because that's actually something we talk about quite a bit on this channel and on our show, is that women will make rules for guys they see as beta, but they'll break rules for guys they see as alpha. Like if they're interesting, if you're hot enough or you make enough money, you're high status enough, you can basically do anything you want. There's these rules only apply to loser guys that women really aren't interested in.
I gotta say something about that. I'm sorry.
Please do. I want to get everybody's answer. No, I want to go around the panel.
To be very honest, I identify as a pansexual woman. So when I date men, even when I date anybody, I always make it clear in the beginning, hey, I don't want to take anything serious. If it's just us hooking up and having that relationship of hooking up, I'll make it known that that's what I want to do. But if I want to take somebody serious, I always make sure to let it be known, so that way I don't lead anybody on and I don't waste nobody's time and nobody wastes my time. And I would expect that from the other person as well. I don't just go ahead and date and then, not take them serious, and they don't know, and they're taking me serious and I'm not taking them serious. And that's where the miscommunication comes in. And then people's times are wasted,
Yeah, but I mean, and I want to get the rest of the panels, but like people lie all the time about what they want,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, you can make an argument that women are lying strictly by just wearing makeup because they don't actually really look like that in real life. You could say that women are pretending to be something they're not by wearing makeup. And you could say that men use their words and they use trickery to get with women. And because this is a very common tactic a lot of women do. I'm not saying you in the particular situation, Kathy, but it's super common for women to say, hey, man, if you just want to hook up or you're not interested in taking me seriously, just tell me. And it's what they do is guys think like, oh, wow, like if I'm super cool and honest with this girl and she realizes I just want to hook up, then we'll hook up, no strings attached, and it'll all be great. And then she turns around and goes, actually, I'm not interested in that next. So it's a
But that's why you gotta trust your own
disqualification
judgment.
tactic.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like you gotta, I feel like for me, I've learned to trust my own judgment because my standards would change over time as I grow. The more I learned about dating, the more I learned about different types of personalities out there, the more I learned about people lying or, manipulating the truth, I started fixing my standards to where it's like, I want to be able to make better judgment calls on who I want to date, who I want to get to know. That's why you always get to know people. Well, that's why I always get to know people before, like, and see, like, what kind of mindset they have, what kind of intentions they have in life. Like, I ask these questions to where it's like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to pursue to the next step. So I want to get to know you more. I want to take this serious. Or I feel like you're responsible enough for me to hook up with, meaning like you're not over here, like, sleeping with so many women that you're infected with something or something like that. You always got to be careful and responsible, but that's what I feel like. Some people don't trust their own judgment. They just go out there and date without having to have these things in mind.
So you're okay with kind of taking the lead on the, like, what are we doing here? Like, this is what I want from this. Because a lot of women aren't. A lot of women are just like, oh, like, I'm not going to approach the guy. I'm going to wait for him to approach me. Like, apparently in the rules, it's all about, making yourself unavailable or being chased and trying to, like, not make yourself too available, which, but you seem to take the opposite where you're like, hey, if this is what I want, then I'm just going to be straight up with it.
Well, that's why I admire men that also like take the lead and take that assertiveness and that assertiveness and that initiative to take the lead in their own lives. Because for me, like, my perspective is, this is my life. You're not gonna mess with my life. Like, I'm going to make sure that I'm choosing the right people that's gonna be around me, that's not going to waste my time.
Mhm.
So I've grew to learn how to take that assertiveness in my life.
Okay, I think it's fair. Oh, I want to go around the panel of the other ladies. So Denise, women make rules for guys that they don't see as attractive enough or good enough, and they break rules for guys that are. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I agree. Yeah.
Expand on that.
I mean, I agree with Kathy. I'm very forward with people in terms of if I start seeing somebody and I don't see it going anywhere, I say that immediately. Like I told you before the show started, I'm not really dating that much because I'm not going to spend time with people that I can't see it going anywhere. Time is very precious to me. So the rules that I'm interested about this rules book that Catherine's talked about. I kind of want to.
Oh, I can't wait to read it. We'll have a field day.
But I do think, not particularly with me, but I do feel like we all make exceptions, men and women, for people that we really want to be with. That's just the way that it is.
That's true. I can't argue with that. Erica, what do you think?
So I've been sitting here actually thinking about your initial question about what Catherine said about, like, the notice that you have to
Sure,
give
please.
somebody. Me personally, I look at that specifically, like, if one major factor is what time are you hitting me up? If someone's hitting me up at 2 a.m., like, hey, what's up? We know what it is. Like, no, you're not going to
Period.
invite me out. Like, no, that's
It's not even
double
a
negative.
sentence. It's just 3 letters. It's just SUP, sup.
Right,
So,
but that's different,
exactly.
right? Like,
So
I think
2
we're
in the
talking
morning.
about in the realm of making plans, though. Like, somebody, this is like, I think there's a clear difference between somebody like a drunken booty call and somebody who's trying to set up an actual date, right? So I think that's an important distinction. I think what we're talking about in particular is if a guy if like 48 hours is not good enough notice, it has to be at least 72. Even if you're not busy.
I would say it depends on what it is that they're inviting me to do. Like, for instance, if a guy's inviting me at the day before a concert, he didn't just buy those concert tickets. he probably had somebody else to go with and chose me second. I'm probably not going to go because I feel like if you really
It's a
wanted to
bit
go with me, you
assumptive,
should pick
isn't
me
it?
first. It's what?
It's a little bit assumptive, no? Because you don't know for sure. You don't know for a fact. I've come into
I
last minute
mean,
concert tickets and like event tickets. I've come into things with oh cool, like somebody got 2 tickets are giving away.
Listen, if it's
Like there's this
Beyonce,
girl
I'm
that I think is
going. I don't
interesting, and
care.
I'm gonna hit her up.
she
That's
said I'm
perfectly
going.
acceptable. Hold on, let me get
If
this
it's
chat real
Beyonce,
quick.
I'm going. I don't care who you invited before that.
DRB84 says if he gives you the tingles, rules go right out the door. Yeah, I agree. But so again, it's like, are these just arbitrary rules? Because it's like, is that not just is it worth not going out with the guy because of that speculation where it's like, oh, like because then what are you going to do? You ask like, well, when did you buy the tickets or who did you originally buy them for? And it's like, even if you do ask those questions, maybe he did buy them before, maybe he did, and maybe he's going to lie. Maybe he's not. Maybe he had a buddy that just said, hey man, I can't go last minute. You want to go to this cool concert? Like you're in Vegas, shit happens all the time, right? So like, there's always events going on. But that's a hard no for you. You're just like, no, I'm out.
I think it really wholesomely, it really just, I want to say that it also depends on like the regular communication that they have. Like, is this a person that's hitting me up out of nowhere that I haven't talked to in a while? Or is this someone that's regularly in contact with me? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different angles, so many different ways to look at it. And it does depend on the person too. I will admit that. I agree. Like, I think that we give more time and attention. Like, we'll break rules for guys that we actually are interested in, that we like, versus the beta. So I would agree with that to an extent. But it's very situational.
Yeah,
For
I
me
mean,
personally,
I agree.
very situational.
I want to go back to Catherine because you said something that was really interesting. I don't know if these are your words or the book's the rule book words, but you said something about don't be a Target bag, be a Hermes bag. I don't know, man. I don't know shit about bags and fashion, but what qualities or what about a woman makes her, let's just use Gucci because that's all I know, or Prada, whatever it is. What are the qualities that make a woman a Gucci bag and not a Target bag? Is every woman a Gucci bag? Like, how do you just call yourself
No,
a
like
Gucci
these
bag makes you a
qualities
Gucci bag?
apply to everything. Like they
What do
apply
you mean?
to being a dentist. Like actually it came up in my office today. Like someone said so and so had a cancellation. It's like if you're putting that out and then you're asking the patient to come earlier, if you're putting that out there and like, well then who cancels on someone? Well, if they canceled, that means it's okay for me to cancel. And then it like causes this domino effect. So like if an Hermes bag doesn't go on sale, these or Chanel bag or Gucci bag, they don't go on sale. There's not a lot of them. They're, same with
Oh, I
cars or
understand the
anything
concept,
else.
right?
There's,
Like, I understand the
like
concept, but I'm
in
going
limited
below that
supply.
surface. Yeah, but I'm going below the surface, right? Because there's something that makes a Lamborghini a highly desired car or a Porsche or a McLaren. It has to do with the type of the engine, the work that goes into it. I understand in high fashion, things are stitched by hand. It's extremely high quality. You basically will get
So
what
you
you pay
think.
for. Well, but let's just say that in this particular situation, you are getting what you are paying for. There's actual quality in work, and there's qualities about that makes it highly sought after and desirable. So, what is the
Sure.
female equivalent of that? How do I know? How does it like? Is a woman in a Hermes bag because she just says she is, because she thinks it up here, or is it because she actually embodies traits and characteristics that make her valuable?
I don't know. I kind of just, you're buying into it. And so I kind of just want you to keep on thinking what you think because it's working.
What?
What are we
Can I-
talking about?
I think it's the time and the effort. That's what she's trying to say. It's the time and the effort that someone puts into themselves. Like it's
It
the
can be, but it could also just be marketing at the end of the day.
Right,
yeah.
but okay,
It could
I'm going to
be
try to
that,
ask this a
Okay.
different way because I don't know if it's not landing or it's not. Maybe I'm not explaining this properly. If
I think
I'm a guy,
I think
I'm
less
a guy,
explaining, more listening.
but you're not
So
saying anything.
let me. So what you're
Please
saying is
enlighten
that
me.
what
Tell me
you're
what I'm
saying
saying.
is that you are buying into the fact that these things that are made to seem more exclusive are more exclusive because they intrinsically have higher value. But there are a lot of things that these luxury
It's not
brands
intrinsic.
do.
It's not intrinsic value. It's
so
value.
going.
It's
So there's-
demonstrated.
Do you want to hear what I'm saying, or you want to tell
Catherine,
me?
we don't have to do this, right? So let's just
Okay,
have a
well,
panel.
if we
Let's
don't
have some mutual respect on this call, and then we can
I
continue.
know
to
I
move
was
forward.
talking and you interrupted me.
Well, because I disagree with your premise. So you're telling me that I think
you want to
I'm
hear
not
me?
mansplaining anything. Hold on. It's not a mansplain. I'm disagreeing with your overall premise. If you started a point with
You
saying,
didn't
"Hey,
let
we
me
all,"
finish though.
hold on, Catherine, really quick. If you start, because I disagree with your premise. If you started a sentence by saying, "Hey, listen, we all know pigs can fly," right? I would have to stop you because no, I don't agree with that. It's not true. So, like, I can't let you continue on a diatribe if your premise is flawed. I'm not buying into I'm trying to get down to the core of how do I discern, or how does a woman know, or what makes a woman a Hermes bag versus a Target bag? What are the qualities and the traits? What are you selling that a guy is buying that makes you higher quality versus lower quality? That's my question.
Every woman's different. I don't think we're talking about bags or anything on sale. I'm telling you about how to market whatever it is.
Whatever
and
what
how
is.
Marketing plays into the perception of the higher quality.
But what makes it higher quality?
What things play into that perception?
That's
no, I'm not talking about the
here.
perception. I'm saying what makes it high quality. Is it simply just because this is what I disagree with? Because it seems like what you're saying, and you correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like you're saying that quality is only what somebody is willing to invest in it, or if I think something is quality, therefore makes it quality. But that's not true when we're talking about things like bags and cars and even human beings, right? Because there are traits that make things and or people more valuable than others. We're not all on an equal playing field. So I'm trying to get you to see.
So if I get off of this, like I started at 25 and then somehow I already am at 2.
I thought you got a
but
phone charger.
I will rejoin if you guys are still on here once I charge back up. But yeah, so a woman, you're not going to change the woman. It's like you're not changing the product in any of this. You're literally just making it in lesser supply. So lesser supply means you have to pay more for it. This this isn't anything, and anything that is in lesser supply.
What is in lesser
more
supply,
highly
though?
desired becomes
what
more
is in
valuable.
lesser supply? What is in lesser supply?
A woman's time. So if she's not readily giving her time to you, then she is in lesser supply.
And therefore, just because she's withholding her time, it makes her valuable. Yeah, because I disagree with that. So I think that premise is flawed. I think there are fundamental traits and characteristics.
It doesn't make her more valuable. In fact, though, it probably does, because if she's investing that time in herself, then she actually is becoming more valuable. But let's
what does that mean?
The woman literally just sits at home and does nothing with that time instead. She's still in lesser supply. So whether or not the actual value of the actual product, like, have Chanel bags actually gotten higher quality? No, that Chanel bags actually have decreased in quality, but because they're in limited supply, people pay more money for them.
Why do they what is it about them that decreases in quality? What makes their quality lesser?
So like Chanel bags used to have like actual gold plating on the.
And she dropped.
There it is.
I mean, holy shit, man. Am I going insane? Am
I
crazy?
think that's why she's single.
I think he was just asking the right questions to help her elaborate on what she believes.
Yeah.
I don't know how I can ask it any differently.
I don't know if she believes anyways.
What I'm trying to boil down to is that this idea, see, the premise of don't make yourself too available, that is potential. That's not actually increasing your value. It's the perception of your value. Right. Because it's like you can make yourself limited in value. Like, oh, my time is first of all, like, to be 100% straight up, like a guy worth his salt, he's not going to be doing this shit. A guy is not going to, like, if a girl ever texted me and said, hey, actually, you texted me after Wednesday and therefore I'm not going to go out with you this Saturday, I would immediately block her and never talk to her again. That's insane. So I'm trying to drill down these rules. Anyway, hopefully she comes back, and I want to kind of pick up that because I've got to get to the bottom of this. It's driving me insane. Yeah. But
can I speak to that, Matt?
Yeah, please. Let's beat it into the ground. Go ahead, please.
I think if you look at the value of a woman, it has to be genuine. So for instance, I was telling you how busy I am, not to fake it, not to tell a guy that so he finds me more attractive, But if a guy calls me on Friday and wants to go out Saturday, the likelihood is that I've already got something planned because
Sure.
I have a lot of good friends. We've already made plans. We've already made, happy hour plans, or I'm doing something with my kids. So it has nothing to do with making a rule. It's that I'm truly out there living my life every day. And so that somebody wants to be a part of that life because I am so busy and I've got so many things going on. I've
That
got
part. Sorry, I agree.
Oh, it's just, I've got so many good things going on in my life and my time is so, so precious that usually if somebody called me 5 or 6 hours before an event, I probably would not be able to do it. And I think trying to make up a rule of Wednesday, I think it's a good rule. If somebody was really trying to go on a date with me on a Saturday, a Wednesday would be a good rule because usually I have made plans. But it's not I don't think it should be a set in stone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, look, I understand and agree that busy people are busy. And I think if there are legitimate issues and there's legitimate
Not to
scheduling, right. And that's the part of the premise that I was disagreeing with. It's like, I don't think it's smart to artificially create false time constraints or create a busy schedule. So therefore that guy will fight for you harder because here's really the deal. Like a guy that is just going to be like, oh, hey, like, can you hang out Saturday? No, I'm busy. Okay. What about Sunday? Busy. What about Monday? Now that guy is revealing that he has very little going on. And you're like, why are you so free every single day of the week? Do you not have a life or friends or anything that you're doing? Like, why are you saying, just let me know? That's why actually that's why I tell guys, don't schedule dates too far in advance. I see guys that'll like text a girl on Monday and he's like, hey, what are you doing next Thursday? You want to get together? I'm like, what are you doing? Like, first of all, like you're not supposed to know your schedule out that far. That's crazy. You should be busy enough that, yeah, maybe it'll be free now, but it's not normally free. But two, then you've got to have all of these conversations in beforehand. You've got to keep the lead alive. And it's like, do I text them before? Do I not text them before? It just creates all these unnecessary. That's kind of getting off on a tangent. But I want to give Erica and Kathy, do you want to have anything? Am I going nuts here? Do my question not make sense? Like I need, what was I not explaining?
Your question definitely made sense. I think that personally, I mean, I would love to toggle on that. A woman's value besides like that aspect is also like the amount of time that she puts into herself. Like not just in time, but in what you're doing, educationally, what you're doing, like what is your value? What do you bring to the table? You know what I mean? Like
So what are some of those things?
For instance, like let's say, like for instance, I can speak for myself. I'm a great cook. I love to cook. I love to clean. I love to go out. I love to plan things. I love to be around friends. I like to travel. I am very, very planned and organized about my timing. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if I'm going out, for instance, like if I'm going out with my man, I want to make sure I look good no matter what.
Okay. Okay.
Like I want to look good. You know what I mean? And then there's other girls.
Why is that important?
Because he deserves that. I have the same expectation of him. Like I don't want him going out looking like a bum. Like, no, we're gonna compliment each other. It's putting in the time.
Like take that one more step. Like take that a step. Why is that why is that important? Like why is that a trait that you have? Why is it important to look good and vice versa? Like what does that underlying mean for you?
It's important to keep the attraction because the person that you meet, usually I would say 9 times out of 10, in my experience, when you meet somebody, you know, you go through your little honeymoon phase and you're like, oh, I really like them. And then you get to like 3 months in and you see their true colors. Like the real them starts to actually show up because in the beginning, they're doing everything that they can to try to woo and, you know, pull you in. But then when you're dating somebody or you're in a relationship and let's say you're a year, 2 years in, and then all of a sudden, like, you're sloppy, you're not taking care of yourself, like that's not what we fell in love with. That's not where we started. So I deserve the person that I started with. Always.
When he stopped going to the gym, now
that's
he
really
gets a dad
interesting.
bod.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really
like
interesting.
but that's what I mean. And it's mutual. It's like, okay, let's work with each other. Let's feed off of each other and help each other.
It's really interesting because we had a woman on, Spence, was it last week that Shay was on or 2 weeks ago? Last week? That was 2 weeks ago. We had Shay on. Shay, she was our resident sexologist. She came on the show.
Yeah.
And so what was really interesting is that she was really married to this idea that you are with somebody through better for better for worse, for sickness and health, thick and thin, like all of these things. And I disagree with that premise. I said, listen, like I pick somebody when they are like they are, when they exhibit specific characteristics and traits that I'm interested in, that I'm attracted to, that I value. And then if somebody just decides to change, and we used weight as an example, because listen, like it or not, men are focused on the superficial. Men like the surface. Men are attracted. They're the thing that gets them even off the sidelines to talk to a girl is physical appearance. Like there's not the only thing, but it's up there. If it's not the most important thing, it's in the top 3 certainly. And that's just every man across the board. And so it's like, listen, if I married or dated or got into an exclusive relationship, because that's really what it is for guys. For guys, especially guys that have options, giving up the ability to have multiple women and only being exclusive to one is a large undertaking. And a lot of women don't understand that because women inherently have a ton of options. Women can go stand on a street corner with a cardboard sign that says line up if you want to sleep with me. And in 20 minutes, it'll be a line down the block. Men can't do that.
Literally get 1,000 dudes lining up.
Yeah.
Maybe there are 0.0000001 guys on the planet that could potentially do that. You probably count them on, probably less than 100 in the entire planet, notwithstanding. But the point being, so if I'm going to do that, say, hey, listen, or maybe I'm going to marry you and say, like, listen, I'm not going to date or sleep with or hang out with any other woman ever again except for you. Is there not some sort of responsibility for her to maintain to basically stay and as within reason, right? I know people age and I know that, it's harder to keep weight off and things like that, but is that unreasonable? It's like, listen, if I marry a 135-pound woman, I don't expect her to blow up to 435 pounds. I mean, is that acceptable? Is that okay? And I got shit and they're like, oh no, for better, for worse. No, you got to let him get as big as a wrecking ball. So what do we think?
No.
So I will say, I'm just going to say this. And again, this is just my personal perspective. If I'm dating somebody and I can't look at them as my best friend, like sex aside, anything personal aside, I'm talking like, I want to be with you. You want to be with me. We want to be with each other all the time. We're never sick of each other. Sex shouldn't even be involved. It shouldn't. So if you can build that foundation in that relationship and you really, really are like in love with somebody and you can put sex aside, like sex is supposed to be like the cream, the cherry on top.
No,
and I think that's glue. No, it shouldn't be though. That's the problem with modern day society.
What?
No,
sex is the priority.
It's always been the glue. Here's the deal.
But why am I going to have sex with someone I don't even like you? I don't like the way you chew your food or you snore.
Of course you like them, but if you are with somebody and your best friend and sex is off the table, that's not a romantic relationship. You're just roommates at that point.
No, I'm just saying
really good friends.
Just to begin.
But even that, there's like no man worth his salt is going to do, like, men and women. Here's the deal. There's really no reason for men and women to hang out if the underlying possibility of sex is either going to happen or it's already happening. They generally don't share the same interests or values. They're very different in the way they think about the world. You can just look at the political landscape. Men are far more logical. Women are far more emotional with the way they make their decisions. Their interests are far different, are way, they're less than, they're not similar, they're way more different. It's like, so this is, and I understand your perspective because guess what? Since you've hit puberty, even probably before, but since you've hit puberty, you've been able to get sex or get attention sexually from pretty much any man you want on this planet. No real, really no man can say the exact same thing. So it's like, because it's like you don't value, because you have a fridge full of food or you have running water, you don't value it. right? You just go to the sink, and if you want a glass of water, you just fill up your glass, and you've been able to do that. But the male equivalent of that is for 30 years, he had to get up and hike 8 miles to fill up his well and then hike back to get it. That's what it is. Like, sex for you is walking to the faucet. Sex for most men is like trekking through the Alps trying to find water. And so when women say these things like, oh, sex shouldn't matter, sex doesn't really matter, it's because that's your lived experience. So I understand it, but there is no romantic relationship, and there's no reason for two people to be together in a romantic relationship if sex is not a cornerstone and a high priority for that relationship. Because
well, it shouldn't happen in the first week. It shouldn't happen in the first month you meet somebody.
not?
That's what I'm saying. Like, because you should take your time to get to know the person. If you don't even like me, why am I having sex with you? That's how I feel.
What if I told you men don't even know if they like you until after they've had sex with you?
And that's a shallow man.
But that's how men operate.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal. A guy who wants to have sex with you is going to think you're really funny. You're really interesting. Everything you say is just super interesting. And you're, oh my God, she's so amazing. She's so funny. I met this amazing girl last night. Oh, everything she said. But really what that is that's he wants to, his underlying motive. And this is just a natural thing. This is not just this is not some sort of sinister undertone. A man wants to sleep with a woman. And everything in his brain is driving him towards sex with this woman. And it's subconscious. We don't even know we're doing it. It's the reason why so many girls, it's the reason why, honestly, women are responsible for hookup culture, not men, because women started giving it up to men early, and men didn't have to wait for marriage, or they didn't have to wait for commitment to get you or be interesting to add to that guy's life to keep him around. But to sit here and say that you got to get to know somebody first, and I understand it, but there's just as much chance of a guy bouncing on you in month 3 if you make him wait, and then on date 1 if he has sex with you. Like the odds don't change. They really don't, because everything he thinks he likes about you, it's his brain tricking him into saying, like, you want to have sex with this girl.
So we're just supposed to translate everything that comes out of their mouth like, you want to have sex with me, and that's your end goal. End game, no matter what.
Yes. If you haven't had sex yet, then absolutely. And this is why women get, excuse my use of the colloquialism, but this is where pump and dump comes from. This is where one night stands come from, because women listen to what men are saying and they buy into it. And they think he's like, oh my God, he's so interested in me, and he can't stop asking me questions about my cats or whatever the hell it is. And then they wonder, like, oh my God, he was so nice last night at the bar and he said all the right things. And then when I woke up this morning, he was gone and he had blocked me. It's like, yeah, because everything that he was telling you was trying to get in your pants. That was absolutely the end game. That's absolutely what these guys are doing.
Well,
I feel like,
and again, I gotta say really quick, it's not a conscious. Some guys it is. Don't get me wrong. Guys will tell women they have no interest in. Guys will lower their standards for women for one night stands. Like that's a biological fact. But guys really, I've talked to buddies before. They're like, oh man, like I met this girl. She's a freaking knockout. She's awesome. Like I love everything about her. We're spending this time together. And then a week later, I'm like, what happens? Like, well, we finally, we did the deed, and like I didn't like her as much as I thought I did. I don't know what happened. It's weird. And like women go through it too. It's like, man, like he's such a nice guy and he cleans the gutters and picks up the kids when I ask him to, but I don't know why I don't want to sleep with him. I don't know why I'm not attracted to him. He does all the right things. It's all subconscious. It's all biology. Like we are so more in tune with our instincts and our biology. These deep hardwired things we're so much more in tune with those than people would let us to believe. And I think it's really damaging when people just say we're not creatures that, we're the only creatures on earth that are constantly expected to override our instincts. I just don't buy it.
I got another a question. The others on the other side of the sex needing to be in relationships, like Erica, if you were dating a man and then like after some time passes, you feel like you don't want to have sex with him anymore. Maybe he's acting a little bit differently and you're just not that attracted to him that you want to be having sex with him. But he's a great best friend. Are you still dating him?
So I've actually been in that situation. And
did you continue to date him or did you break up?
no, but I told him, I was like, listen, I just like, we were friends for a long time and then we ended up hooking up, and then I ended up telling him, I'm like, this wasn't right. Like, I want to be your friend. I don't want to do this. And of course he went crazy because he honestly, and I think it was because he waited so long. And then by the time he did get it, he was like mesmerized. And then I was like, no, this isn't what I wanted.
No.
This doesn't feel right. And he took it very personal. And then we weren't friends anymore after that. And he was like, I'm in love with you and whatever, whatever. And I was like, okay, dude, you're tripping, but just the chemistry wasn't there.
Can I ask a question?
That's a guy who was only your friend because he wanted to sleep with you.
But
He
I know
was
for like
friend
5
zoning his
years.
way into the bedroom.
Guys will wait decades. Guys will wait their whole lives.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
You saw it. Kathy, what'd you have a question on?
Yeah. So I personally feel like I hold a strict boundary with, if I do have a guy friend, I hold a strict boundary to not sleep with them because I feel like that softens the boundaries. Like I feel like that gives confused feelings. How would you go about being friends with somebody you slept with? Because I personally will feel uncomfortable about that. I feel like they'll be dating, to be honest.
On you froze.
It was a question for us or the question for the rest of the ladies?
Are we
I didn't
good?
hear the second part of your question because it froze.
Oops.
She might be
Can
lagging
you hear
behind.
me?
Are you still there?
Yeah. I'm lagging bad.
Catherine wants to pipe in.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the. I'm trying to make sure she's still here. So the question I think was maintaining friendships with people that you've slept with and how you would go about that. So, Catherine, do you have something to say on that point?
I'm going to be very Harry Met Sally in this situation and say that there are no friendships between men and women that are completely platonic ever. And so that just like doesn't exist. I mean, like oftentimes a lot of people will be like, oh, but I have this guy that I'm friends with, but like there's always one who wants something with the other. So like, yeah. So I think who said it? I think Erica, you said your like biggest
Erica
red
has a guy
flags
friend.
were like biggest red flag was if a guy had a lot of like girlfriends, and like to me that's a huge red flag also because like obviously they're not getting this, like the fact that boundary like doesn't that doesn't exist. So either like they keep a lot of, to me that means like the guy is not into the girls because typically he would be sleeping with them if he were or so he's either sleeping with all of them or he just maintains like a lot of girls around to like, you know, who like him and he doesn't like back just so that he can make himself feel good, which is also a huge red flag. So I think
The
if
guy with
you're
a
not
lot of
into a
female
guy
friends.
and you want to friend zone him, just don't, because if he still wants to be friends with you, that means he wants to sleep with you still. So like that doesn't exist, and you're only like preventing yourself from moving forward with an actual healthy relationship by maintaining that guy who wants to sleep with you around, because then anyone who actually wants to have a relationship with you, it will be scared away
I feel
because
like
someone who thinks like that will actually look at you and say you have a major red flag.
I feel like you would have to have serious discipline to sleep with somebody and then be friends with them after and not sleep with them again and hold that boundary, because sex has been a very complicated thing. Like if you put sex into the equation when it comes to friendships, that I feel like that further complicates things between you and the person, especially how they see you, how they respect you, how they choose to like basically how they choose to view you, how they choose to like the tone that is set in that friendship. That's why I always keep like a strict boundary. That's why what my question was, how would you go about being friends with someone you just slept with? Like how would you go about that?
You don't.
It doesn't exist. There's no friendships.
don't.
Like, once sex is
There's no such
introduced,
thing.
yeah, I know, but like once sex is introduced to any sort of relationship, it's no longer. I actually agree with Catherine on this. Like no relationship between a man and a woman is completely platonic. There's always some sort of underlying sexual desire, or even the fact that if it's not being actively pursued, if most guys, like if a girlfriend was like, hey man, come over, I'm horny, let's get it on, they would be like, oh yeah, right. But it, like enough times she's like, no, I'm serious, come over, like he would do it. Like they guys would do it. And so is a guy who would sleep with you after just very little convincing, only because he doesn't want to look embarrassed that he's on some reality show where it's like, hey, like we're texting your guy friends, see if they'll bang you. Then when they think the coast is clear, they will go for it. Now, and if that's the underlying case, and if we know that, can you really call that a friendship? Like if the reason that the guy is even around you or spending time with you or spending time on you or paying attention to you or offering you emotional support or advice or whatever it is, it's all under the veil of I'm doing it because I'm waiting for my opportunity for a crack in the armor so I can sleep with you. Is that a friendship?
Bingo.
Yep.
And a lot of women say it is. And they say, oh, well, I have discipline and I have a boundary so it never gets crossed. But it's like,
He's just waiting for your weakness. He's just waiting for you.
And maybe it'll never come.
Maybe bend the rule that
But it's
one
like,
day.
even if that's the case, even if you say like it'll never happen. And here's the thing. I actually will take it a step further. I think it's not only unwise for women to keep men around as friends that they're not sleeping with, I think it could be potentially dangerous, because when you actually look at the sexual assault and RAPE cases, a lot of it's like 40% or something like that, or maybe more. I don't know exactly statistics, but it's something like 40% plus maybe or more come from people that you know. Like the likelihood that you're going to be walking down the street and some random dude's going to grab you and pull you into a bush, it's far less likely to happen than somebody who has been spurned by your advances for years and who you lead on into thinking that there's something there when there's nothing, and they decide to say, well, whatever, I'm going to take what's mine. That's way more likely to happen. So it's like, why even put yourself in that dangerous position, in that dynamic? Because guess what? Like Kathy, I know you do MMA and stuff, but like even the average guy is going to be tough for you to deal with. Even an untrained average man.
I'm going to be honest with you. Sorry, I'm going to be honest with you. When I used to do Jeet Kune Do, the person that I was put to spar with, his like my arm looked like a finger next to his arm. Like at that point, I felt like just a little twist and it will break my whole shit. So I'm gonna be honest. Even like the skinniest people, like, and when I practice MMA, even like you'll see that they're so like they look frail, but their strength is intense. Like you would like at first, I'm gonna be very transparent, very honest. I didn't even realize where that strength came from. It took me having to practice MMA for a long period of time for me to realize that it's subjective to the person, you know, so you just never know.
That's what's so interesting.
Brick in your Hermes bag. I'm sure it could carry it, but does it need to?
Are we? Speaking of which, I want to try to drill down on this one more time, because I want to go to Denise. I want to go to Denise because I've got some questions for Denise. But Catherine, I think we were so close to a mutual understanding before your phone dropped out.
I know.
And
I'm
we started
sorry.
talking about this.
To demonstrate, okay.
I understand. But besides artificially inflating your value through scarcity of time, because what we talked about, like there's a difference, right, between being actually busy and having plans and having a full social life and schedule, and saying, well, no, this guy texted me the day before, even though I have nothing going on tomorrow, that falls outside the rules, so I'm not going to do it. So let's say we just push that to the side for a second. When we talk about what makes a woman valuable, what are some of those traits? What are some of those characteristics? How do I know a woman is a Hermes bag and she's not a Target bag? Like, what am I looking out for? What do I need to know about her to know which category she falls into?
I mean, I think it depends on. That's not even what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about sales. I'm talking about sales and marketing. I'm not talking about the actual bag. You give me a bag and I'm going to sell the bag. Like, the inherent value of it isn't even actually what we're talking about. It's really,
that's what I'm talking about. though. I'm drilling
I
down
know,
to
but
the
that's a
inherent
different
value.
topic.
That's the topic that I'm going
I was
down.
giving the example about the Chanel bag. So the Chanel bag has actually decreased in quality, but
Yes.
has increased in the amount that people pay for it. So that's
I know,
just
but
sales and marketing at the end of the day.
I understand, but that's
the
not what
actual
I'm
quality.
talking about. I'm talking about
Okay.
the actual makeup and the quality. Like, let's say somebody is a savvy buyer. Let's say somebody knows when they're being sold to. Somebody is in sales and marketing. They know all of the tricks. They know that these women aren't actually busy and they don't really have full calendars. They know that they're sitting, if they're not out with me on a date, they're sitting at home watching Sex and the City reruns and drinking Franzia, right? Like, so let's just say, for the sake of this argument, what makes a woman actually valuable? Not the sales, not the marketing, not the smoke and mirrors and the tricks. What are the actual traits, physically or mentally or whatever you choose, that make a woman valuable?
I think you'd have to ask the person that is the right person for her, because I mean, every woman has her own inherent value to the right person.
For example,
so
like what makes her inherently valuable?
Like, some guys like blondes, some guys like brunettes. Like, you know, you
that's
put
not
a blonde in front
value,
of a guy who
right?
likes
Like,
brunettes, and he's not gonna like her. You know, but
that's not a
you
value,
have someone
though.
who's
That's a
like super
preference.
quirky, and you're like, you know, some guys like girls that are super quirky. Some guys like girls who like know how to wrestle, and some guys like the dainty woman who's like, I can't get my hair wet. There's
How
no
would
one
the
inherent
entire
quality that makes
but
a
how
woman
would
valuable. Every
how
woman
would
is
the
valuable
entire
in their own
so
right.
this wrong? First of all, I disagree with that entirely. I don't think that everybody's valuable. I think that most people are extremely not valuable, and most people don't add a lot of value to society at all. But we can put that aside for a second. But my point is, like, if that's true, I'm going to try doing something. I know I shouldn't go down this road, but I will, just because I'm a fucking masochist when it comes to this show. If everybody is so different and every person's preferences are varied and there's no two people that are the same and every single person is 100% different, how would we ever know anything about human behavior and psychology and anthropology? How would we have any data or any research to point to what humans would generally do in some certain situations, or what are certain attraction triggers for people? If everybody's so different, how could we study people at all?
I mean, there's certain similarities amongst certain people. There's cultural similarities.
Okay. So there are similarities that women find valuable in men for dating and mating opportunities, and there are similarities that men find attractive and viable for women in opportunities.
So you're asking, like, what I think that a man would find to be valuable? I mean, I think, like, innately, I think a man who's like trying to mate would probably look for a woman who looks to be healthy. Typically, men also like women or would want to mate with a woman who looks like she could carry a child. So, I mean, I actually talk about cosmetics for this very purpose, because cosmetics, to me, at the end of the day, are, I think a lot of people don't realize that cosmetics are inherently tied into looking healthy, because when you're looking for a partner, you want to look for someone who has like healthy genes. And so if someone presents themselves well and they look healthy, then like they become more attractive to the other person.
But what are those things? When you say look healthy, what do you mean by that? Like, what specifically?
I mean, like, just think about like acne, for example. Like, acne is it's like a type of bacterial infection of the skin, and like that's considered to be not beautiful. But like, is it not beautiful because of this stigma that's developed in our society, or is it not beautiful because people are inherently turned off of it because it's a signal of something that's not healthy in them? And that would be an argument to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It comes from evolution. It's thousands of years of us evolving to not like traits of unhealthy people. It's the thousands of years of evolution, not some societal programming
that comes up as catfish to me. Because I like, just like Erica was saying earlier, if we date and you look good and you know your hygiene is intact, and then later on in a relationship you start letting down that first impression, you start showing, like, getting comfortable, and then like your hygiene is off and everything, I feel like I'm not gonna want to marry you because you can't even keep yourself together. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want a man, woman, whoever, to have like to be intact with their hygiene, because to me that makes me believe that, okay, you love yourself enough to be responsible with your health, you know, and having to fix yourself up, be cleaned up, and to go on dates and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would want a life partner like that. I wouldn't want somebody who's not taking care of themselves, because it shows lack of self-love, and I don't need that type of partnership in my life.
Now, you said in that scenario they stopped taking care of themselves. You wouldn't want to marry them. Let's say you're already married, and only after you got married they stopped going to the gym, stop taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
Is that enough to trigger divorce?
No. Because if I'm already married to them, that means I saw them at their best. And even when I see them, even if they were at their worst as we were dating, I know their heart. I know deep down that they're capable of loving themselves again, and nursing themselves back to health. You know what I'm saying? So in a marriage, or even in a relationship, I can work with them to go through those challenges in life, because I'm not saying everybody's perfect, but like, we can work together so that we can be healthy together. And even you as an individual person too. Like, I don't have to be in the equation all the time, because I like when I'm in a relationship with somebody, and if I'm in a marriage with someone, I believe heavily on they're their own person as well. Like, I don't have to be in the equation all the time. Meaning, like, when we spoke about like having to look through phones and stuff, we didn't mention it here, but I always want to trust my partner that they're going to respect me behind closed doors. So for me, it's like, if we're in a friendship, in a relationship, if we're in like a marriage, we're going to work through that together 100%. But you have to also be full in, just like I'm full in. I can't give you 75% all the time, you know?
I gotta grab this super. I gotta give Claudia a hard time though, because we're talking about USD $20, Claudia. I don't know what the exchange rate is, but $20 Canadian ain't quite 20 USD. So
I almost didn't even notice it, me being Canadian.
Crank that up next time. That's about $15. Moff and Spencer, should women step back after sleeping with the guy? Is this something you recommend? I don't know what you mean by step back. I mean, put it in the chat. You don't have to send another super. You can.
I think what she means by this is you have sex with them, whatever, first, second, third date, but then maybe you pull back on sex. You're like, I don't want to have sex again quite yet. It's like maybe you wait a couple more dates. She's like pulling back the sex. Dumb. I don't recommend this at all.
I think she means like pull back the time, like don't be like
attention.
Like,
or yeah, either. I think either one
Claudia,
is an easy way to turn this into a one-night stand and never see the guy again.
I think at that point, you definitely should not. You can't go back in the story. Okay, so you have sex on date one. Like, once you've had sex with a guy, you're gonna have sex every date. Pretty much. I mean, and occasionally there's the occasional like, oh, I'm too tired, or whatever the fuck. But no dude is gonna be like, she's gonna be like, oh, actually, like, I think we rushed into it. Let's slow things down a bit. Like, beat it. Like, see it. Not gonna happen. So, like, step back after the first date, first time you have. But Claudia, what does step back means? What are you talking about? Either one, mostly attention. Okay, sorry. Mostly attention. I apologize. I would say it's still always on the guy to be taking the lead in romantic situations. If a guy is saying, oh, like, we didn't talk because you didn't reach out to me, or you didn't text me after we hooked up, or I haven't heard from you, or any of that, that dude's making an excuse and he doesn't like you. He doesn't want to talk to you, or he's so wildly dumb because he doesn't understand the basics of courtship, which, again, I don't think is generally the case, because it might be the case because guys can fall ass backwards into sex. They just have to talk guys don't talk themselves into sex. They only talk themselves out of it. So I would say the ball is in the dude's court, right? Like, now at the same time, when the guy asks you to get together again, how you continue to show enthusiasm and how you continue to show up. You take care of yourself. You put your makeup on. You get your hair done. You get your nails done. You show up. You're excited. You're enthusiastic about hanging out with him. You be with him. You give him better sex than you gave him the first time, or you give him your best performance. That's what a guy is looking for if you're trying to continue to get him and lock him down, because before sex, Guy's trying to get the woman. He's trying to get sex. After sex, woman's trying to get the guy. Now, that doesn't mean that we're playing Uno reverse here. And she's like, well, I need to start pursuing and asking him, when are you free to get together? Like, oh, let's hang out. I want you to meet my dogs. No, don't do that stuff. But a guy still needs to take the lead, but you need to be enthusiastic. It needs to be, yes, I'm free. Yes, I'm available. Yes, I'll wear that black dress that you like so much. Yes, I'll bring you a sandwich over on my way. Yes, I'll come help you fold your laundry if you still have some in the dryer. All that stuff. If this is a dude that you're serious about, you do all that. You don't do all this nonsense about I'm valuable and therefore my time and like, oh, I got to make you wait for it or I got to make you chase me. It's like,
or women saying they're the table.
Huge mistake. Yeah, whatever the fuck that means. But yes, I don't know what that is. But like, what's that?
I don't even know that one.
Like, what do you bring to the table? I am the table. It's just nonsense.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my answer to that question. But yes, you're probably overthinking. But my thoughts only. Look at that. Helping. Claudia's got to get on Ladies Night. We're going to ban Claudia from the chat until she comes on Ladies Night. You heard it here first.
I totally second everything that Moff said on that too.
Yeah. Anything to add?
I was just going to say, I second everything there. It's men want to see progressive interest in sexual interest in you helping out with my life. Like, I want to see progressive interest over time, not stepping back. If you step back, now I'm thinking you're not interested anymore. And I'm not going to go chasing something that's walking away from me. It's like you come in a bit, then I'll come in a bit more.
You can text me after, be like, hey, I had a great time last night. Cool. Good. Me too.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's really all the reassurance a dude needs. Like, I don't need you to be like, hey, you don't need to go on the chase. Just like it. Don't even thumbs up. It'd be like, nah, it was okay. I've had better.
I need reassurance, okay? You gotta give me hearts or something.
Actually, you know what? I can take it or leave it. My buddy showed me this the other day on his phone. This girl sent him a big ass paragraph, and they came up with like Google recommended responses, and one of them was just wow in capital letters. Wow. Nice. It's like
under lowercase. Wow. Period. Just like do that. I swear. Wow. All right, I gotta get to Denise because you've been very patient, but I got some hard hitting stuff for you now.
Okay.
So you are business owner. Kind of have your own agency. You work with a ton of brands. Been divorced. Have kids? No kids?
3 kids.
3 kids.
Yeah.
Teenagers out of the house.
2 teenagers.
All
2
teenagers.
An 18-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 9-year-old.
Okay. So almost 2 out of the house, but 1 that's still going to depend on you at least probably, for the next 5 or 6 years until teenagers start getting shitty. Okay. You mentioned, though, you're on apps, but you're not really doing it. You're busy. But you've mentioned that you're open to remarrying.
Yes.
How do you reconcile all of these things?
I don't know. That is a tough question because I think the dating apps give you an illusion that there's just an endless amount of people out there. And I probably need to tell this lesson to myself because there really aren't an endless amount of people out there. But with the time that I have, it's really hard to like schedule dates with people I'm actually interested in. And I shared with you, I live in a I would say I live in a mid-size city.
Of the state you live in, it's probably, it's not huge, but
it's not a huge state.
Right.
And so I do tend to, if I go on dates with people, we have mutual friends. I know the ex-wife, our kids are friends with each other. So that's been a challenge. And then the last relationship I had, the person was out of town, which had its own
long distance thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
How long was the distance? Was it drivable at least, or was it like multiple states away?
It was drivable, but not. I mean, it wasn't a weekend thing. So
okay.
Something you need at least 3 days notice.
Absolutely.
Nice. So it's tough for you.
Yeah, and I am on dating apps, but it's really hard to, I've been disappointed because you talk to somebody and then you meet with them and you don't see their mannerisms. You don't see like their intellect and how they can carry a conversation. You don't see their eye contact. You don't see how they treat other people. And then you go on a date, and all of those things can come really quickly to the surface. And you can really kind of understand that within. I like coffee dates. A lot of women don't like coffee dates, but I like the coffee dates because I'm not backed into a corner for 3 or 4 hours or 2 or 3 hours. And 45 minutes is a great way of just seeing if you had an initial connection. So,
ladies, what do we think about coffee dates? For them, against them? Everybody good with them? Hate them? Love them?
I'd be heavily wired. Okay, I could do tea.
All right.
I would be
But, like,
talking on and on and on
An
and on. And poor
afternoon
guys will be
coffee,
listening.
like an
Walk
afternoon,
in the park.
like a mid-afternoon coffee is all good. Like a 11 a.m., 12 p.m. coffee or 2 p.m. coffee, all that's good. That's fine.
All jokes aside, yes.
yes.
Yeah,
Catherine,
absolutely.
Erica, interesting.
I agree with that.
I think it depends on how far you're traveling. I'm not really super into the online thing in general for this reason. So like the coffee date, yeah, it will help you eliminate people in a more quick manner. But like the way I think about it with like online dating is you definitely, I think attraction is 100% chemistry. And like, sure, you can see what school they went to, and like how old they are, but like those things at the end of the day, you could, I literally, I've met people online, meet on a dating app, and I'm like, literally everything is perfect on paper. And then the instant I meet them in person, I'm like, oh, like not attracted
Not
at
the
all. And
ugh.
it's not like they didn't look exactly like their photo. It was just like his posture was weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
He sat down and gave you the ick.
I literally got out of the car and I was like, ugh, no, can't do it. And so I'm like, and like
Damn.
literally everything on paper, like everything. And like he looked exactly like it. It's just his posture. Something was weird. I don't know. So I'm just thinking like you could schedule all these freaking dates. You could meet a new person 365 days a year, but like you don't know if you're gonna like them in person until you actually meet them in person. And so I'm like, if you just go out to like a bar and there's like, I don't know, 50 people there, you could like scan the room and meet like 50 people in one night. So like I just think like 300, it's a lot of getting ready to do and scheduling to just maybe see if you could potentially be attracted to someone. I
still want to come back to Denise, but here's the deal. Like, there's some of that I agree with, some of that I disagree with. First of all, like, you're not approaching guys at the bar. So the idea of you going out to a bar and meeting 50 people is probably not going to happen.
I don't even have to meet them to know if I'm attracted to them. You remember, like, you.
Okay.
I mean, maybe.
But you just said attraction is all about chemistry.
Like,
so which is it?
I'm sorry?
You said attraction is all about chemistry. So which is it? You said you don't have to meet them to be attracted to them, but before you just said
to them. I don't have to speak to someone to know if I'm attracted to them or not. Is what I'm saying. I don't have to meet. I don't have to learn their name. I can literally look around the room and you could just feel the chemistry sometimes.
Okay, but how is that working out for you? How many times do you go out to a bar or an event and you meet somebody that's worth your time, quote unquote, dating?
I mean, it's more successful than online dating because I'm literally not going on a single date with someone I'm not attracted to because I've already met them.
But how is that more successful if you're not going out on any dates?
No, I'm saying that I'm not going on a date with someone that I'm never going out to coffee or dinner or doing anything.
But that wasn't my question, was it?
I haven't already vetted.
Not wasting
that wasn't
your
my
time,
question,
ever.
was it? My question was, how's that working out for you and how many dates are you getting or how is that working out going to places in person? Are you getting dates? Are you meeting people? Is it working? Or is it not?
I'm not going for quantity here. I'm going for not wasting my time.
So it's not working. Catherine, I'm at a loss. Like, I don't know why you can't just answer the question. I don't know if you're like doing this on purpose. I don't know what we're doing here. I asked the question like twice. What is it? Am I not phrasing it right? Like,
he's not trying to say that it's not working out for you. He's asking.
I said, how is it working?
Out?
Are you meeting
Genuinely,
people and going out on
for you?
dates? Like, do you have romantic prospects from these events or from going out in bars? Like, is this serving you?
I would say yes. It's serving me more so than going out on.
Wasn't the question.
Yeah,
I'm asking about this particular thing. So you're getting dates, you're like going out with people from it, or are you not?
I mean, am I married right now? No. The answer is no. But am I like going
also
out
wasn't
and
the
getting
question.
the ick from
Also
people?
wasn't the question.
Also no.
You are like, You're the best guest we've ever had at answering every question except the one I ask. But we're going to move back on. I'm going to come back to you, so you're not off the hook yet. Denise, if you don't mind me asking, and again, you don't have to answer this question. You're a very sweet lady. You're a very sweet woman. I don't bring people on the show to embarrass anybody, but I call things out when I see them. I'm not doing that in the particular case, but if you don't mind me asking, what happened with the ex-husband? Why are you guys no longer together?
Oh, geez.
If it's a touchy subject, you don't have to answer. I'm just curious.
Fine. You know, I don't believe in divorce at all. That's how I was raised. And I married a person who I thought I knew. He ended up actually going to federal prison. And I stayed with him through that. And I took my kids to see him in federal prison, thinking he would be rehabilitated. That never really happened. And those characteristics that got him to federal prison, those continue to be throughout the marriage. So like we were talking about things people
How
change.
early on, really quick, how early on in the marriage or relationship did all that happen?
We were married 6 years when he was arrested.
Okay.
And then he went away for 20 months. And I stayed with him for another 7 years.
So you've been divorced how long?
2 years.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Okay. So you got married late.
Yeah, I was 26 when I got married.
Maybe my math is off. That's not super late, but you stayed together quite a long time.
Yeah, we were together together dating and marriage 21 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the warning signs, what? They just weren't there early on, or you just overlooked red flags? What happened?
I went into marriage very naive. My parents are very conservative Christians. They have told me like that was when I went to college, my dad was like, go get your MRS degree.
Yeah.
Like God's just going to work it out for you. You're going to get married. Everything's going to work out. Whoever you choose, it'll just work out. And my parents have a very, they get along really well. So that was my example. And so I thought that's how God would work it out for me. Like whoever I choose, it's going to just work out. And it just was not the case. And I got to a point where I was like, I can't continue to be in this situation. So it took me a long time, a lot of lessons to get out of that situation.
What were the nature of the charges? Were these like 20 months isn't a very long time. You think of like white collar crime. Yeah, right? Like white collar stuff.
White collar.
But
with his actually, just to give you some background, his mom was his conspirator. And your mother is typically the moral compass of the home. So that's where he learned. Yeah. So I went into a relationship very trusting because I trust people. I expect them to be the way that I am. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't realize all of these red flags. Now that I'm 47, I can see those things in people very quickly. Yeah. So
your discernment has gotten much better.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
But I would
that's tough.
Get married. I would get married, but it would definitely have to be this, a gem of a person.
Yeah. Why else? Why do it? I mean, are you, and I don't mean this the way that it's going to sound. It's like, but are you okay? Or have you had the talk with yourself in the mirror that, that may not happen again. And this is kind of what the rest of your life is going to be. Is that something that you've made peace with? Is that something you're trying to avoid? Okay.
Of course. I'm very content and I live in so much peace right now.
Yeah.
And I'm working on myself. So I don't think that would be the case, but I have very good girlfriends and I have a lot of peace with those relationships. And my job and my kids. And obviously my kids are going to be at the house at some point. Mm-hmm. So I would like to find companionship because although he and I were not a fit, I missed that companionship and the masculinity inside the home.
Totally.
That's safety inside the home. Having somebody there that if I come home and it's dark and I'm uncomfortable, having a man inside the home is just, there's something about it. Yeah. So I
just balance, right?
Understand. I think it's not your disposition. It's not even really the kids, because here's what most guys, I think, see at the surface level. And this is just how guys operate, right? They see 47, they see 3 kids, they see very busy, they see divorced with a checkered man with a very checkered past. So it's like every red flag is like, but like you seem very sweet. You seem very well put together. I think the tough part of anything is going to be, are you going to make time for a guy that's worth his salt? Like, are you going to be able to be available? Are you going to be so focused on the business and everything that you're doing and these girlfriends? It's like what a man really wants from a woman. A man wants to be the number one. A man wants to come before all else. And it's like, I understand you got kids. Like, I get that. That's really tough. And so, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, the deck is stacked against you. But I think it's not hopeless, but I think these are some of the things to maybe, you know, think about and consider. It's like, how much time, you know, maybe it's like you're sort of dating, you're on the apps, but you're not really pursuing it. And I think if there's one thing that I've noticed that a lot of women have, it's sort of, and maybe this is left over from your religious upbringing. And like I said, and for those of you guys don't know, MRS degree, basically it's like diamond diploma. You're going to college to find a husband and get married.
Right.
But I've heard a lot of women have this sort of almost passive attitude where it's like, well, like the right one will come along and the right thing will happen to me. And then they wonder like, oh, wow, like it didn't happen last year or 10 years ago or the year before. And so I just urge if the urge to remarry is maybe a little stronger than you're letting on, I would encourage you to potentially take a little more of an active role and an active effort. And look, like I get it, but you got to sift through a lot of dirt to find a diamond. And I know what it's like out there for both men and women.
To it, especially if friends introduce me.
Sure, small town.
Like I shared with you, I met a guy down on vacation, which has really sparked my interest. And I would literally in a heartbeat go see him again if he was available.
Yeah.
Oh.
Spence, I saw your chat about the video. I want to get to that here in a second. I have one more question for Catherine. I don't know if I'm going to get an answer on this, but Catherine, you mentioned, and I don't know if this is a serious thing or if this was just in jest, but like a guy's posture disqualified him. Like, is that something you'd really disqualify a guy on? Is that a real thing? Like that's enough to get him kicked to the curb?
No. I just utilize that to find a verb for, or like some way to describe I wasn't attracted. Like, and I don't know what it is. It was just literally just, I don't know. I think I can see someone and be like, I'm attracted to that person, and I can see someone else and then be like, I'm not attracted to them.
Do you
think that's what icks are? An ick is just a way to describe that you're unattracted to them, but it doesn't actually mean that thing made you unattracted.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it like sometimes you can't pinpoint exactly what it is. So we come up with like all these different things of like, oh, it was this or was that. It's like, no, how about just at the end of the day, like, I mean, they have a whole movie on like he's just not that into you. Can't we just have like I'm just not that into him?
It's fair.
The other way.
Do you think you have realistic standards for the men that you see as potential? Okay, continue.
No,
why not?
I don't.
You don't have realistic, or you don't have unrealistic standards?
I don't have realistic standards.
Okay.
Why not?
She's like,
okay,
no.
What does this man have to do?
How much do I have to pay you for this session?
So tell me about your ideal guy. What does he look like? What does he make? What does he do? Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I would have to be attracted to him. I mean, like, I don't know. I like guys who are taller than I am, who are muscular. Like, I'm going to say all these things that are completely unrealistic, but like, and are stereotypical, you know?
Like what?
So he's tall, he's muscular, he makes a lot of money, he's alpha, he takes charge, but yet he also doesn't take charge and lets me do whatever I want. Like, has traditional values, but also doesn't have traditional values. Like,
let's back up. What do you mean?
Completely.
What do you mean? Let you do whatever you want? What do you mean by that?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Being facetious.
I don't know what I mean by that. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But this doesn't seem to bother you. It seems like you're okay with having like these extremely high standards, and like it's fine either way if you have a guy or not. which I guess is okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I am.
But like marriage is not a big deal to you. Like having kids is not on your radar.
I think marrying a man who doesn't fit my unrealistically high standards sounds worse than being single to me.
I mean, yeah, that's at least we agree with. I mean, we know that women think like that. It's not often that we have one that actually says it.
Kids, that situation, having kids with one of those men, and that sounds even worse.
So you're good with staying single forever? That if a guy doesn't meet your titanously high standards?
Yeah, basically.
I mean, I don't know what else to say to that. I guess okay. Like, I mean,
yep. I've compromised so many times at this point in my life, and every single time I'm not happy. It doesn't end well. So why waste my time?
But where do you think these come from? Like, why such high standards? Like, why do you think that? Where does this come from? Like, why is this what you settle on?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't even I'm not even thinking about standards at this point. Like I set high standards for myself, and I'm currently trying to achieve those. Like previously in my life, I think I ascribed to these like certain timelines or certain things that you had to do. You had to get married and have a certain number of kids and da 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 da. And I compromised things about my life to achieve these standards that were imposed upon me by society. And then at a certain point, it's just why do I keep on doing this or doing that so that I can fit into this type of mold? And then at the end of the day, the things that I'm compromising are the very things that I'm not happy with, and then ultimately end up losing the thing that I'm trying to achieve. So it's if I'm compromising something to be in a relationship, but they end up losing the relationship because of that compromise, then maybe I should just stop compromising.
Last question for Catherine. What was your relationship with your dad like growing up?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
I have weird daddy. I have a couple different fathers, but my actual father is more like my uncle, and my uncle was more like my father, in the actual traditional sense of it.
But would you say you had a strong relationship with a virtuous, strong, masculine man growing up in the house? You learned how to respect men. You were shown lessons by these men. You were put on the right path by these men, or what was that relationship like?
I think that the one who'd be showing me lessons and being there for me was more my actual uncle, and then my dad was more of my the fun one who I went and but I mean I respected them, sure. But certainly my family in general was very matriarchal. Even on the
So he didn't run the show. Your mom did.
My grandma ran the show.
So the man was not the alpha in your household.
Correct.
Okay, that's the answer I'm looking for.
That's not totally true. So it was always the head and the neck, I would say. So it's the women are controlling everything, but but the man, at the head and the neck, I would say.
I hear that a lot, and I hear that a lot.
Really controlling everything.
Yeah, but I hear that a lot, and no one's ever been able to tell me what that means. What does that mean that a woman's the neck?
The neck controls what the head does.
The way I understand
but make that saying make sense for me practically. What does that mean? How does that manifest itself in reality, not just a euphemism?
Happy wife, happy life.
Okay, I'll tell you. So, let's say my uncle, for example, had a construction company. He's the owner of this construction company. He goes to work every day. He goes to job sites. But what made that construction company run? My grandma. She scheduled all the meetings. She did all the bids. She told my uncle where to go, who to be. It's just
it's a mistake.
I have something I want to say about that too, because I realized with my line of work, well, not my line of work, but when I used to work at certain jobs, I'll notice that, how can I say this? Okay, when I worked at a high-end gym, I noticed that the people who were able to afford the memberships at that gym, they would have their wives handle the bills and the memberships and things like that. And I had one lady come up to me at one point and said, "Oh, I want to purchase personal training sessions for my husband." And then that's when she commented, I handle everything for my husband. So what is your take on it, Moff and Spencer? Like, what's your take on that? When it comes to like a marriage, like the woman handles like the bills and then the man handles everything else.
No, there's no reason. If you want to lose half your shit and you want to
What?
put your marriage in extreme risk, bring your wife into your business and make her a part of it. There's really no reason that should happen. She should be at home with kids, raising them, taking care of them, making a house a healthy, happy home. I can go take care of all that other stuff. I don't. That's
This
that's
podcast
the
is
problem.
podcasting hard right now.
That's the problem with a lot of these guys and men nowadays, is that they think that they treat their, and again, I don't believe a woman is ever going to be a guy's best friend. I don't think my woman is my woman. She's my lady. She's my old lady. She's my whatever you want to call it, but she's not my best friend. She's never going to be my best friend.
Not your partner.
She's not my partner either. We're not two gay guys working at a law firm.
Not
We're
even
partners.
business partners?
No,
No.
because
I mean,
there's
what
just
is a
no
marriage
reason
then?
for it. Well, marriage is a contract that you go into and sign with the government. They can kind of tell you what happens to your assets and your kids if you decide to end a personal relationship. And I don't believe in the institution of marriage, and I'm not going to get married, especially not on paper. And I don't think any man should that lives in the West at all, with the way the family law system is set up. But we can, before we move on to that, I mean, we can move on to that topic, but I think we're getting a little off the rails here.
Yeah, my bad.
Which is fine. I want to make sure we get to Spencer's clip, but I had one more question, and I want to go to Erica because you've been really patient. And this is just a innocent, interested question. You're in a relationship, and your line of work is less than traditional. How do you and your boyfriend reconcile that? How does he feel about the dancing and the OnlyFans and the cam work and all that other good stuff? Like, do you guys do it together? Are you working with other performers? Are you doing solo? Like, how does it all work out? How does this work?
So with my OnlyFans, I only do solo. I don't do anything with him or anybody else. It's all me by myself. So he's totally fine with that. And I think that he's okay with that because, going to a physical strip club and going and dancing, I'm making like physical contact with people. So honestly, I think that he'd actually prefer OnlyFans over the club dynamic, but we have a really strong foundation and there's a lot of trust because he knows when I go to work, he knows when I'm home, you know what I mean? And I don't he trusts me and I'm not doing anything that I'm not supposed to be doing. Like I'm strictly there to entertain, and I think that there's a very big difference between an entertainer and a stripper.
Yeah, but your average strip club goer doesn't know that, right? Your average strip club goer is not a guy that understands that it's purely a transaction. Like, these are guys that are lonely. They're going because they need the attention and affection. And same guys are subscribing to your OnlyFans, right? So like, these guys are marks. They're not necessarily like a business transaction. So it's like, does that not give you pause when it comes to this? Like, you're kind of creating this fantasy that doesn't really exist. And I mean, that's all good?
Well, it's a job. It's a job just like any other job. So that's where very strict boundaries come in with my line of work. Like, yes, I'm there to be the fantasy. I'm there to play and pretend and whatever, but it's also my job to figure out because there's so many, every man comes in a strip club for a different reason. Everyone has their own, it might be, I mean, I could tell you rebuttals that I get all day from guys about, I'll be like, hey, do you want to dance? And they're like, oh, I'm just here supporting my friend. Oh, I'm just here because my friend brought me. Oh, well, I'm broke. Like I I hear all the things. So when you get the guy that says yes, there's a lot of different things to look at in the dynamic of them saying yes or them saying no. But when they say yes, it's figuring out what is it that they're lacking, what is it that they're looking for. Because even when I go for a dance, I might get the guy who's super aggressive, or I might get the guy who's a total gentleman who keeps his hands to his side and he just lets me dance and he's very respectful. There's no one size fits all box. So I communicate about my job. I communicate about my night. And honestly, like my boyfriend will tell me, he'll be like, "Oh, when they say this, you should say that.
So
When
you
that
tell
happens, you
him
should
like
do this."
what you do in the club. You're telling him about dances you're giving and things that are going
Yeah.
on,
Yeah. Like I'll
and
tell him
he's
about
totally
like,
cool with that. He's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
man.
he's trying to help her make more money.
I love hearing about other strange men having hands on my woman. He's like that.
I mean, not exactly like that way. He knows what happens, but at the same time, he knows that I'm there to make money. I'm not having sex with anyone. I'm not doing again, I'm not doing anything that I'm not supposed to
Why
be doing.
that?
I'm
Like,
entertaining.
why not just like you can make money doing a bunch of different things, right? Like, why this is a particular job or a particular profession?
I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. Ask me the question again.
What does he do for a living? Does he not make enough money to support both of you?
So he does a lot of stuff. He has real estate. He's got a custom furniture business, so he makes custom furniture. Um, we don't even live in the same state. We live in two different states. I'm in Nevada, he's in California. So we have a long distance relationship. He comes here, I go there, we go back and forth, and we make it work.
How long has this been going on?
About a year and a half.
Has it been long distance the whole time?
No, but he's here most of the time. Like he literally only goes home when he has like business stuff to handle because he makes custom furniture. So like he doesn't make it himself, but he has clients that he has to go meet and whatever. And sometimes I'll go with him. I'll go there and I'll hang out with him there or he'll come here. But like last year, for instance, he flew from LA to Vegas 42 times in 9 months round trip.
He
Like he was
always comes
here.
to you and you never go to him.
No, well, I mean, yeah, like sometimes I'll drive there. I'll drive there or he'll fly here, we'll fly, whatever it is. But, it goes back to that value thing too. Like he has things to do, I have things to do, and we're both receptive to that. And we're
What's
respectful
the
to
end
each
game
other.
though? Like you guys can't get married and be together or like have kids if you live in the different states. Like what's the end game? Like what's going to happen? There's this a guy you don't like you see marriage with and kids with, or like what's the deal? What's the long
Oh,
term play?
absolutely. But he's been so rooted in, like, he was born and raised in LA. So every part of his businesses, everything is in LA. And he's kind of to the point, especially with, recent events and all the craziness that's going on. He wants to move here, but he needs time to move his businesses. And he's in the process of that. So he's actually supposed to be moving here by the end of this year.
Hmm.
Your
So there's
face is
sight in the future of
No,
it
I
not
mean,
being
like, look, I'm
long
not gonna.
distance.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say anything about the guy or make any assumptions. I know that this, again, like if it works, it works. I guess. Like I'm not in here. I'm not in the business to speculate on ulterior motives or what other people might think about this, that, and the other. It's just, if you came on and you were single and you were like, oh, like why isn't it working out? Like maybe we could have a conversation, but whatever. If it works for you, then I guess it is what it is.
I guess the bottom line is there's a lot of trust. There has to
Yeah,
be.
like, trust doesn't really matter, does it? Because it's like it's not about trust. It's about like I look at it as not a trust thing. I look at it as a respect thing. I look at it as a non-embarrass me thing, right? Because he may or may not share this with you, but there's no way he doesn't have buddies that dog on him for what you choose to do in your line of work and the fact that you guys are long distance. I mean, that's
Oh,
like
I've already dealt with that. I've been through that. Some of his friends,
right.
when I
It
met
doesn't. It,
him,
it doesn't make. It is not weird. The fact that it's not weird to think that his friends or his family or people like that just go on the internet and subscribe and see you naked for however many dollars per month. Like that's not something you reserve for just the guy that you're in a relationship with, and you're giving it and you're doing it with strangers, even in person in like nightclubs. Is that not something that's worth protecting for just the guy that you're with?
it is. It absolutely is. And what I do is not, excuse me, is not something that I want to do like long term. It's not something I'm going to do forever. But at the same
The internet
time, like
forever.
he's
You could stop tomorrow and the internet lives forever. Like you're not gonna be able to scrub that stuff forever. I mean, we had a woman that came on last week who is this big Christian influencer and she, you know, like has all these followers and she's all about marriage coaching. And then somebody sent me some messages after the show and was like, hey, this girl used to post ass pictures. Like that stuff lives forever. Like you can rebrand, but it's like that stuff will follow you. I mean, is that not something that you're concerned about?
Not really.
Okay. I mean, I can't make you care.
I mean, there's 9 billion people on the earth, and honestly, no one's opinion ever put clothes on my back, food in my mouth, or a roof over my head. So quite frankly, even my own family, my own relatives who have
Yeah, but like,
anything to say about anything I'm doing.
I mean, like, because your kids are going to have to grow up and they're going to have to see that. Classmates are going to find like digging up stuff from the internet and showing them. It's like, hey, man, here's little Johnny's mom, like, going Kong on herself with a 9-inch whatever. Like, I mean, I don't know what you do.
Yeah, but I'm not even doing all that. I'm not even going to those lengths. I have an OnlyFans, but like I'm not doing all that.
This
When
is
I hear
all
solo
BS.
content,
This is just stuff to try to shame women to take away her source of income at the end of the day. Like
who's shaming anybody?
No, you are actually. The things you're saying
what am I?
are trying,
how am I
shaming?
shaming?
Shame her.
No, I'm asking questions.
Yeah, societally.
Like, where's the shame?
I mean, men have more muscular bodies, and so they are construction workers, and we're not shaming someone for going out and doing construction. Well, women have beautiful bodies, and people want to be around them just because they want to be around them, and they're willing to pay money for it. So, like, why shame a woman for utilizing her beautiful body to, you know, give people what they want?
I'll tell you what, I can shame promiscuity if you want me to, because I will, because I do think promiscuity is shameful. I don't think there's anything noble about like, and I also like, you can make money however you want to make money, but like, let's not pretend like it's a skill or something that you learn through hard work, or that there's some sort of course that you have to take. But it's not.
Hold on.
Because you're
born
with inherent value. Because all you have to do,
I don't agree with
because
that.
you can literally just take your clothes off and people will give you money for it.
No, but that's the thing. That's the misconception, is that it's just stand there, be pretty, and guys throw money at you. It doesn't work like that.
That's what stripping is. Come on.
No, it's not.
Come on, please.
No, it's absolutely not.
No, let her explain.
Enlighten me then.
Okay.
I want to hear.
I'm curious about this then. What?
Please
Being
enlighten
an
me.
entertainer, my job is to entertain. Yes, there are girls. I can't speak for every entertainer, but there are entertainers that just go, and I call those the crumb catchers, that go and they get pretty and they walk around and go, give me money, I'm pretty. I'm not one of those girls. I get on a pole and I'm LeBron James on the pole. Not everybody can climb a pole and put on a show and perform. I perform.
Erica, here's what you got to say.
Like acrobats. It's like
no man gives a fuck about you dancing on a pole. They're trying to see you naked and they want you to feel up on them and dance on them. No man has been like, wow, that's really impressive. She can spin around a pole. Now here's $1,000. That's not what they're doing.
Right. And at the end of the day,
they're there to see you and stare at you and get a dance and potentially take you to the champagne room to see if they'll get a little action from you. That's why guys go to strip clubs. If guys want to go to fucking see an acrobat, they'd go to the goddamn Ringling Brothers. They're not going to a strip club to see that shit. They go to Cirque du Soleil.
I think
but that's the point. You're selling. Hold on. No. That's what the thing is. You're selling your body. You're selling the image of a hot woman that guys want. You're not selling acrobat skills. You're selling.
And it's a fantasy. And when they walk through those doors, they know what it is. So why should I feel bad for taking their money when they know what it is when they walk in the door?
Because they don't know what it is, and that's the
point. But they do.
No, they don't.
They
and that's
do.
the thing. They really don't. And it's the same guys that are getting scammed out of their money by OnlyFans girls who think they're in a relationship with them. They're getting scammed out of because they think they're in a relationship with them, because the women are getting these agencies, or even the women that are learning to use chatbots, and they're saying, oh my God, like, please send me money. I need stuff for my blah, blah, blah. Or like, oh, you're so sweet. We're in a relationship. You can call me your girlfriend. I'm in love with you. Now send me $1,000. Like, these guys don't know that it's an illusion. They don't know that it's a transaction. Your average strip club goer is not a guy that's just like, yeah, I know what this is. They're trying to do this and get money from me. I get a little bit of, I get my touched over the pants a little bit. I have a good time. And then I go home. Most guys that are going to strip clubs is because they're lonely. They don't have success with women. And this is the only opportunity they have to get attention. So you're creating the fantasy, but the fantasy for them is very real. It's not this thing that it's the thing that actually exists for them. Most guys that go to strip clubs, they think that you are actually into them and giving them attention because you like them.
because most of
That
those
sounds like a
guys
personal problem.
don't get attention. But that's the point. What I'm saying is, don't sit there and act like that's an equal exchange or these guys know, because they don't. And if you're like,
But
what
they
I'm saying,
should.
because no, but they don't. And that's not, but that's the point. I look at OnlyFans, stripping, all of these types of take your clothes off for money services. It's no better than being a petty drug dealer. You're capitalizing on, I'm not saying you specifically, I'm just saying in general, because you are capitalizing on the animalistic impulses of the public to make money and to make a profit. Okay.
And you know what I
Let's
let them
just call
know?
a spade a spade.
There's a legal brothel an hour outside of Las Vegas in Pahrump. And I let them know, if that's what you're looking for, you can go there and pay somebody $1,000, $2,000 and go have whatever sexual fantasy that you want. It's
Most
not going to
guys
be
are
with.
not going to spend $2,000 on that kind of stuff. They'll pay
Then
$20
again, that
for a
sounds like a
dance.
personal
But
problem.
this is, again, and I'm not saying it's your responsibility, but let's not try to church it up like it's this actual work or that it's this noble thing that we're doing. Like, that's the only thing. Like, it's not, and it's not something that's like, it's not what they're going there for. It's taking your clothes off on camera takes no skill. It doesn't take any certs. I mean, not that I care about certifications or degrees, but it doesn't take skill. You're born with it inherently. You are born with natural sex appeal.
So
Yes, you are.
true.
As a woman,
No,
you are
because if you don't
born
know
with
how to
sex
talk,
appeal and value.
if you don't know how to talk to a client and you don't know how to speak and actually hold a conversation and get the sale across, there's no point.
Yeah,
There's no
because
point.
guys,
They're going to be like,
guys
yeah,
are
you're
going on
lame.
porn sites. Guys are going on porn sites because they think they're going to have one-on-one conversations with the women that are getting fucked. It's not what's happening. They're going to see hot women take their clothes off. That's why guys go to OnlyFans.
It's the environment.
That's why they go to strip clubs.
I think that's what Moff is trying to say. Like, if it's a strip club, it's setting the tone that there's gonna be sex work going on. I think that's that. But then I understand your point of view because, you know, you're in the field itself, so you're trying to explain how your experience in the field. So it's just kind of like, you know.
The point
So
is, it's not shaming. I can give you actual. See, this is what I can give you actual reasons why men find promiscuity disgusting and are disgusted by it, and why it is a visceral reaction. And not that anybody's going to listen to this on this panel, but this is okay, because promiscuous women sleeping with multiple men, it all comes down to men want to know that the children they have with the woman they're with are theirs. The more promiscuous a woman is, the more higher her body count is, the more she sleeps around, or the more she even engages in promiscuous activity adjacent, the less likely that kid is going to be mine. Right? That's why virginity is so coveted. It's not because it's this just arbitrary thing that was just like, oh, only virgins. It's because if I'm sleeping with a virgin, I know that if she's pregnant, that child is guaranteed to be mine, which means I get to pass on my genes, my DNA, my genetic legacy, and I get to actually raise kids that I sire. That's why a lot of men have aversions to single mothers and single moms, because they are being a father of kids they didn't sire. They're raising kids that didn't come from them. And when women engage in this activity that looks and acts and is potentially based in reality actually being promiscuous, it's disgusting to men. It's not a shaming thing. It's not men trying to keep women down and barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. It's an absolutely biological reaction to us potentially giving all of our time, efforts, resources, attention, marriage, if that's your thing, to a woman who had kids with another man and then is making us raise them a lot of times unbeknownst to the man. That's why promiscuity, and that's why things like OnlyFans and prostitution and strip clubs and the simple act of women that are making a living by taking their clothes off, which takes no marketable skill whatsoever, that's why there's an aversion to it. Now, your relationship is your relationship, and that's all fine, well, and good. This guy seems to be okay with it for whatever reason. I don't know anybody in my circle that would, but that's okay. That's fine. I'm not dogging on your personal relationship. I'm just asking questions. But Catherine is coming to your rescue for some reason. But that's the explanation. If you ask why promiscuity is looked down upon by men, that's why.
But yeah, guys can go and bang 10 girls and it's supposed to be okay by society and they can do whatever they want to do, but then go do what they do and we're whores.
Great point. You know why that is?
Because it's a common double standard of society that's total BS.
Not a double standard. Let me ask you this. Are men and women the same?
Oh no, I know exactly what you're gonna say to this.
Are they
So
the same?
no, men have to actually try to go get laid, right?
Correct.
Women, we just have it thrown at us and we have
Correct.
availability all the time. And at the end of the day, we're the
Yep.
ones who choose whether we're gonna give it up or not.
Exactly.
So that makes us forced to be on this pedestal of being more selective, where men, it's okay because if you can knock down 10, then you worked hard for it. But we didn't have to work hard to knock down 10.
That's pretty. Yeah,
So
you pretty
that's
much nailed
okay
it.
for
worked hard
you,
for it.
but it's
Well,
not
that's-
okay for
no, no,
us.
It's
No.
nothing to do with okay and not okay. We're not talking about moral standards. If we're just talking about, we're putting the morality of it aside for a second. We're talking about the sheer fact that the average woman can get laid extremely easily. Like right now, you could walk out your door and come fuck me. Okay, no problem. Zero men on the planet can do that. For men to get laid, you need to be charismatic. You need to be in good shape. You need to know how to talk. You need to be funny. You need to have a good head on your shoulders. Probably need to have money. You can't
I
be
don't
broke.
believe that. I think that there are men who are physically
You don't live
and
in the
attractive.
world because you've never experienced it. It doesn't matter. Like you've never lived in a man's world. You don't have a man's brain. You've been able to get sex and attention just from being a girl from the time that you were 2 or 3 years old. So of course you don't get it. But that's the reality that literally billions with a B, billions of men live in that every single day. I just saw some data earlier today to give you a little bit of example. I don't have it with me offhand, but I can provide it maybe in the comments. The average man has to swipe on the app Tinder up to 30,000 times to get sex from a woman. The average man has to swipe 100 swipes just to get a match. Just to get a match. We're talking about the average guy here. Just to get a match, he's got to swipe 100 different times. And then he's got to get 5 or 6 matches just to get a date. And of those matches, he's got to go out with women. He's got to go out with 10 or 12, maybe or 15 of those matches just to potentially get laid. So the odds of your average man getting sex from a woman are astronomically small. The odds of the average woman getting sex, astronomically high. So
it makes it okay for men, but not for women.
Something that's difficult is seen as more valuable. Somebody achieving something that's difficult is more valuable because if it's easy, everybody can do it, and that doesn't make it valuable. If everyone can go to their sink and get, how did I prove your point?
That's exactly
the
question
you were asking her.
What is the point that you proved?
That you have to work harder for it, so therefore
Correct.
it's more valuable.
No, the
That
man
was the
has to work
value thing
harder
I
for
was talking
sex.
about
So
before.
the man is more valuable because he can get sex from women. That inherently makes him more valuable. And it's called pre-selection. Women are more attracted to men that can get laid and get women. That's a biological fact. You can finger wag, be incorrect all you want, but that's the reality and that's the fact.
You're contradicting yourself.
How so?
Because you said that when women withhold themselves and withhold their time and make themselves less available, that doesn't make them more valuable. But yet, men
because it's artificially created, because you're lying. It's smoke and mirrors. It's not real. You're artificially making yourself less available. It's the illusion of value. It's not actually value. No, because your value has nothing
and we don't want to just put out.
Your value has nothing to do with your availability of your time. Actually, the less available you are, the less valuable you are to the man that actually wants to take you out and date you, because men aren't going to, like top shelf men aren't going to chase sassy women that don't make time for them. They're going to go where it's easy because they're going to actually get women that like them, and they're going to be able to get sex, and they're going to get
laid,
love.
they're not going to be interested, and they're just going to keep it moving anyways.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You're taking all of these points and you're going off on like the Roadrunner and conflating them down this insane path. It's not hard to just tell people no. If you're artificially saying, I'm really busy, I have all these things to do, but you're actually not, you're not really busy. So it's the illusion of value. A woman's value actually is more tied to her lack of promiscuity, her purity, her ability to have children, her physical and sexual attractiveness. That's what a woman's value is tied to. Doesn't have to do with how much money she's got, not her degrees, not these fake time constraints that she puts on that she's really busy. Therefore, she should be valuable. Men don't find that valuable whatsoever.
But what do you find valuable?
Yeah.
In a woman?
Yeah, absolutely. What do you find valuable in a woman?
He just stated it.
A woman that's fit, a woman that's feminine, physically attractive. Yeah, absolutely. Sexually enthusiastic. And most importantly, after you've crossed all those, that's not the most importantly, sexually attractive and sexually enthusiastic kind of go hand in hand. But There's no way I bring a woman into my life that doesn't find a way to be useful and add value. That's the X factor. A lot of women think just being hot is enough, or that laying with a man is enough. But if you got a guy that's got enough money to take care of himself, he can hire a maid or he can do his own laundry. He doesn't care about that. You need to find a way to bring actual value and be useful to that man's life. That's what guys are buying aside from beauty. They're not buying degrees. They're not buying money. They're not buying what you're bringing. Like, they're not buying this sassy ass boss babe attitude, this girl boss against the world shit. They're not buying that.
But you see, that's the thing, though. There is women that set the tone for like how men view us, because there's women that go out there looking voluptuous and they use their good looks, you know, for their own advantage, and like they end up taking advantage of men, and they end up like, you know, just having this like condescending kind of attitude with other people just because they look good. And
sure,
I don't know.
A lot of women's egos are way overinflated just because they are good looking. But the problem is, a lot of men, the vast majority of men, will give women attention just for having a fat ass and being good looking. And they'll put up with the sassy attitude because they want to get laid. They really don't like it, but they'll put up with it. And that's the problem with simping. And that's the reason that we are in the predicament that we're in when it comes to the issues between men and women, is because men give unlimited free attention to women that they'll never have a chance with, or that will never look at them the second way, or try to get money out of them, right?
So the reason OnlyFans made more money than the NBA, I'm pretty sure.
And you can even pass the buck, because it's like, well, if men didn't watch, OnlyFans wouldn't exist. It's like, well, if women didn't make OnlyFans wouldn't exist. So I mean, we can pass the buck forever. It's like, why if women stop doing porn, guys wouldn't find porn to jerk off to. But here we are. So that's the point. So that's why it is more impressive for a man to have a high body count, because he's got to work for it, and it's not impressive at all. And it's actually disgusting for women to have body counts that are high. That's why it's more impressive to me that a woman remains pure with a lower body count, or a body count of 0 if humanly possible, because that shows that she's actually selective with who she chooses to lay down with, and she makes good decisions, and she doesn't just go and do what's easy. It's the opposite. That's why nobody respects a man who can't get women, because it's easy as a guy to not get women. All you got to do is exist. And it's easy as a woman to get guys, because all you got to do as a woman is exist. Men and women are different at their core. Double standards don't exist because we're not fundamentally the same being.
So does that mean by default that you will have sex with any woman who exists?
No. Why? Where do you get that from?
You just said a woman just has to exist. So you'll just have sex with any woman who exists.
Catherine,
because there are thousands, millions of simpy dudes out there.
I don't know.
What is your question?
I said, will you just have sex with any woman because she exists?
No, but there are a lot of guys that will.
Yeah, there are a lot of guys that will. He's not saying that that's what a man should do, or that that's what he would do. That's what a lot of men would do.
Have you heard of the concept of projection?
I'm aware of what projection is. Do you care to tell me how I'm projecting?
Well, typically people will describe other people when they're actually describing qualities of themselves. So, like, everything that you recognize in another person.
These aren't qualities of other people. This is just data. This is the observations of the modern world that we live in. You can go open any girl's Instagram. You could probably go open any, like Erica's Instagram, and you can look at her comments and all the hearts and all the, oh my God, so beautiful, and from all these guys that she's never going to give a chance with. Or look at half the girls that weren't here tonight that are in the chat. The girl with the tattoo on her neck, the model. Go look at her comments. Flooded with men that will never have a chance with her, that are giving her unlimited attention just for posting a picture and just because she's attractive. That's it. Like that she didn't work to get like that. Maybe she got into the gym, but maybe she did whatever. Maybe it is. It takes a lot. It doesn't take that much work, and I can tell she's got plastic surgery.
You probably have not had a long-term girlfriend before. Like, you don't.
What does that have to do with anything?
No, it takes a lot of work to put those Instagram photos up. It takes a lot of work to wake up, do your makeup, get fit, eat the right thing.
This is a perfect personification.
Wait, are we talking about me?
No,
we're talking about like just in general. You don't just
This is a perfect representation. This is a perfect representation of what women think is hard. This proves that women live in bizarro world where doing your hair and taking a shower and putting on some makeup and posing in front of a camera is hard work and hard labor. Why don't you tell a guy that gets up at 3 a.m. and goes and works in the coal mines of West Virginia and gets black lung, or a guy that goes and hammers roof tile in the summers in Georgia every single summer, what real hard work is? Why don't you go and talk to that guy about what's hard?
What hard work is? I mean, that's like saying you didn't have to do anything to make a podcast. All you had to do is show up and get our microphone. This didn't take any work.
Oh, this
no, I have talent. I have talent, actually. I have talent.
Well,
I do the number one thing. So I actually do very well. I actually do very well what most people's number one fear is. The vast majority of people's number one fear is, guess what? Public speaking. I do it 4 times a week on live shows. So I actually do have a talent, and it actually is difficult. Yeah, but it's a terrible example because what I do is actually hard.
No, it's actually a very good example.
Okay, just because you say it's a good example, it must be a good example.
So
because everybody's a good public speaker, right, Catherine? Because Catherine, so many people, everybody in the world is good at public speaking. It's so easy, and everybody can just do it. Right? It's just
that's exactly my point. That's exactly my point.
I'm being facetious. I'm making fun of what you're saying. It's not easy. That's the point that I'm making.
That's the point
taking pictures is easy. Yeah, but your point is wrong because taking pictures is not hard.
It's just as hard as public speaking.
I disagree, actually. I mean, it's hard for somebody that gets that kind of photos. It's hard for somebody who's really trying to be attractive on camera. It's hard for them. But for somebody who could just take a picture and be photogenic, it's not hard at all.
It does, because here's the point. Here's what you don't understand. Men, it doesn't matter if you're actually good looking or if you're actually not. No matter what your pictures look like, you are going to get attention from simps. No matter what you look like, no matter what filters you use, no matter how much you weigh, the average woman on Instagram, go and look at her comments. The average woman that's got any more than 5,000, 10,000 followers, which is small when you have over 1 billion users on that app, and half of them are men. An average good-looking woman, Instagram is flooded with nothing but guys showering her with attention and showering her with comments about how amazing she is and how beautiful she is. And that doesn't, because you're wrong and you can disagree, but you're incorrect. The facts don't back up what you're saying.
But the facts do show that some women have a lot more attention on their Instagrams than others.
Yeah, no one's disputing that, Catherine. That doesn't negate what I said. Like please explain to me how what you just said negated what I said.
Because you said that any woman could get the same amount of attention. And what
what I said. See, that's how I know you're not listening, because that's not what I said. I said the average woman who's not a model, doesn't do OnlyFans, isn't a fitness bikini competitor, anything like that. The average woman can go out there and will get 10x the attention that any man will get just from posting pictures. And an unattractive or a very average woman will get nearly the same or close to the type of attention that very attractive women will get. They're all getting it. There are different levels. I don't dispute that, but a lot of that has to do with following, not because they're more attractive.
Yeah.
You have very attractive women that don't have, but no,
the difference is the talent.
Obviously, if you have sales and marketing skills, you're gonna get more followers on your Instagram. You're gonna get more subscribers in your OF. But the point Moff is saying is, like, even the average girl is getting heart eye emojis in her inbox, heart eye emojis in her comments, fire emojis, but no, the average dude doesn't get any of that attention.
Zero.
I'm not
but that's not really what I'm talking about.
The fact that
I'm not talking about no. Please go ahead.
Get less attention than women.
That's not the argument. Yeah, we're talking about the difference between what women think is really hard work and what actual hard work is. I've done hard labor. I've worked construction jobs before. I've hammered roof tiles in the summer heat in 100-degree weather. I've done that shit. I've worked grunt work. I've bussed tables. I've done all that shit. I've taken trash out. Like, I've done all that stuff. I've done things that are hard. I've done things that are hard. What?
Have you taken a really sexy Instagram photo looking like a really sexy woman?
Are you being for real right now? Are you being for real? Like, is that a serious question?
Yeah, absolutely. I know what the answer is. I know the answer is no. And until you've done that and you can compare the two, you can't tell me what hard work and not hard work is.
Yeah, I
Until
can't
you
tell
do
you what
the
hard
search
work
for
is.
your
I can't tell you
people,
what hard
you
work
can't
is,
tell me
Kathy.
that's not hard
Do
work.
you really, in your heart, do you really think that taking a picture for Instagram, do you really think that is even coming close to hard labor, throwing your back out, what guys are going into coal mines doing, getting
I think
black
it's
on? It's the
harder.
same thing? Yeah, then
I
you're a
think it's
fucking
harder.
idiot. Then you're
I
dumb.
think it's harder.
And you're truly one of the stupidest people we've ever had on this podcast, if you actually think that. You're dumb.
I think
If you really think that,
I'm
you're an
entitled
idiot.
to my own opinion, and I think I've
Yeah, but
taken
no,
some
but your
pretty good
opinion's
Instagram photos,
your opinion's dumb. It's
and
retarded.
I've
Like,
done
it's extremely
actual
dumb.
physical labor, and I have
I
trained
guarantee
for
you've never done physical labor in your life. Being a dentist is not hard physical labor. Sitting in a chair all day.
I did.
Hard to say.
I've literally. You weren't listening earlier when I told you what my family did, but yeah. So I'm aware of what physical labor is, and I'm aware of what taking an Instagram photo is. And I've tried pole dancing, and I can't even freaking do that. That's really hard work.
I would say to say what I do is not physical
Like
work.
I
Pole
can't
dancing is hard, by the
even.
way.
That's like I can't even do that. I can't. That's
Mom,
harder than.
if you could climb a pole 40 feet in the air and flip upside down on it
I can't
and
freaking
make
do
your
that.
way
You got my
down with
respect
no
for that one.
hands, I'd give you $1,000.
Erica,
I can't
I
do
can
it. I
like
tried.
I'm in the middle.
I can squat 450 pounds. Can you do
Wait,
that?
can you climb a pole?
Can you squat 450 pounds? Do you see how this is a dumb argument?
No, you're lifting weights.
So go
You're
do
not
it if it's
using
so
your
fucking
body
easy.
strength and your calisthenics.
I'm not using
to
my
climb a
body
pole.
strength to pick up 450 pounds off the ground. Are you
But it's
for real too?
calisthenics. It's acrobats.
Calisthenics.
I could
It's
die.
hard. It's hard.
I could die 40 feet in the air if I fall off that pole. You're not
I
going to
could die
if
of
you
squatting.
can't lift
I could die
450.
I could die with 450 pounds on my back. Absolutely. You could snap your spine.
Oh my God.
That's true too.
But do you see how that doesn't do anything for your argument? Just because something is hard doesn't mean it's labor. Just because something is physically demanding doesn't mean it's labor. Just because it's taking athletic ability or that it's strenuous is what we're talking about here. Oh my God. I can't believe we're having this conversation.
I got called a bimbo whore.
Taking an Instagram photo was strenuous labor. I said it's hard work.
What's the difference?
Oh.
We're just playing word games now.
Work? Okay, so like studying for a calculus exam is really hard work, but is it strenuous physical labor? No. You know, becoming a doctor is very hard work, but is it physically strenuous? No. But there's a lot of things that are hard that are not physically strenuous. Actually, I would argue that the hardest things to do are not physically strenuous.
Like what?
Becoming a doctor, doing your taxes.
I feel like
taxes
it's
are
subjective
easy
though, because they can become like physical labor. Like you would have to sacrifice your sleep to study these materials so you can be able to pass the test, or like make sure that you get high scores so you can be able to actually have the certification. Like the
But it's not lifting it's not lifting weights.
Okay.
The point that I'm trying to make, and I will die on this hill, is that most women live in a fantasy world when it comes to what's actually hard in this world. Women are born with inherent value. You have unlimited attention from men from the time that you can walk and talk. You have people throwing money at you and offering to fly you places and take you places and shower you with gifts and give you love and sex and attention and resources and all of these things for doing nothing but just being born with good looks or just being a woman in general. It doesn't take effort and it doesn't take hard work. And that's why it's so comical to hear women saying, taking my clothes off for money is really hard work. Or being a sex object, or being viewed for, or men giving me money because I take my clothes off is hard work. Because all you're doing is taking what you were inherently born with, and that's your entire thing. It's not like you had to learn how to lift weights and be strong, or how to learn how to run really fast, or become a dentist and learn in school and apply yourself. The fact that you have inherent value, it makes your life a million times easier than even the average man. An average woman's DM is flooded with men. The average men's DM is drier than the Sahara. Even guys that have a little bit of social media status and clout don't get the type of attention and DMs and sexual attraction that from women that the average woman gets from your everyday man. So I don't buy this premise.
With you that women can get sex easier than men can. I don't think.
What I'm talking about is that the world you live in as a woman is not difficult. It is designed for you. Everything that we have in our society is designed to protect and pave the way for women. And that's why you have these crazy, that's why you have these crazy out to lunch opinions that taking photos for Instagram is difficult and is hard when it's just not. Because because that's your idea of hard, because you live in a world where the ground is made of pillows and cotton candy and everything is paved the way for you. That's my whole point.
Well, why don't we have this conversation after you take an Instagram photo shoot?
Catherine, I just don't even believe you're a real person at this point. Like, I honestly don't.
The day I see Moff doing a IG model OF style photo shoot.
Guess what? I've done Instagram photo shoots before. You can go look at my Instagram. A lot of those photos were professionally taken. It's not hard.
I'm envisioning
I've literally done it. I've literally done it.
The female OF style though would just be hilarious.
You got the wig on and everything.
I've literally done photo shoots for Instagram to put photos on my Instagram. If you go to my Instagram, a lot of the photos that are on there are professionally taken. So I've done it. And I can tell you unequivocally, that is not harder than getting on a roof and hammering tile. It's not harder than hard physical labor. It's just not. You're standing there while somebody takes pictures. It's not hard. I don't know. I can't believe that I even have to justify this. This is banana land. I'm at a loss. I really am. Like, it's not even close. So there you go. There's your answer, Catherine. I've done both. Unequivocally, physical hard labor is much harder than taking Instagram photos. I'd love to see the ones
where you look as hot, where you get the hot or heart emojis.
What does that have to do with anything? You just said taking photos is hard.
Taking a photo that garnishes the type of Instagram attention that would get lots and lots of hearts emojis.
I mean, it won't happen because he's a man.
That's the problem.
There are lots
it's
of men
not because the photo is really good.
There are lots of lady men. Go to Thailand, like the lady boy. See how much work it goes into that. It's a lot of work.
Spencer, I'm done. I can't. I'm done. I can't deal with this idiocy, this retardery for another minute. So
it's a lot of work. It's just
this is the most ridiculous thing. I think every week when I think that I've been surprised at the level of idiocy, like I'm surpassed. Catherine, you're going on the Mount Rushmore of dumbest guests we've ever had. We're going to make room for you up with some other folks.
Suggesting becoming a ladyboy was crazy.
Yeah, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done. Let's wrap. Guys, that's it. I'm not doing it anymore. Ladies, we're gonna pull you from the stream. I'm gonna wrap up here. We're gonna go ahead and move them out. I appreciate everybody coming back, but we're gonna be done here. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore, man. I'm out of here. I just won't do it. Sorry. So that's really it. We'll see you guys back next week. But I just have zero tolerance for people that are going to come on the show and be literal retards. You can be an idiot and you can be ignorant, but when you're clearly trolling and you're trying to just do no, we're not going to have that over here. And I don't really give a fuck. Everybody in the fucking comment, oh, Muff, you're getting so emotional. You guys don't deal with this stuff every week, dude. You guys have no idea what it takes to be up here listening to this stuff for 2 hours every week. So, Spencer, as always, you do a great job. Continue to get the guests. We will see you guys next week, same time. Rich is going to be doing a show, I believe, tomorrow at 12 noon. I'll be doing a show. Actually, I'm going to be doing a show 12 noon as well from office hours. I got a couple topics that I have, top of mind, specifically around some of the stuff I talked about tonight with like biology. And but I think I'm going to go a different direction. You know, if you guys saw my Instagram story today and you heard about what we were talking about with the free stuff, I'm going to talk about why giving things away for free is generally not a good idea. And I think if you're a business owner, if you're starting off running a business and you're trying to do either coaching or do a service or product, free is never going to be your best friend. So with that, we're going to wrap. Spence, I apologize for not letting you get more of a word in and running some of your clips. I promise to do better next week.
We didn't get to a single clip tonight.
No, we didn't get any
I don't even
clips,
think we
and I take responsibility for that. So if anybody's watching this on the replay or watching live, that's my personal apology to Spencer. I'll do better next week. And with that, we're gonna get out of here, guys. We'll see you on the next one.